degaussing when they talk about the electrical wires and the experiments that had to go into that. Yeah, absolutely. But also, you got to wonder, what military great technologies did they have Einstein and Tesla working on? They didn't ever tell us about. Cool stuff.
How about them fire?
TBG, you want to transfer conversations over? Dude,
Yes.
dude, did they blow your mind the other day? Because I actually thought that they were going to come back. I
No,
thought they were going to come back. Like, it was
I know.
2-1, and I was like, you know what? They can do it. And then I quickly realized how wrong I was.
So that last night's game for a little bit gave everybody hope, but by the time the 80th minute rolled around, these guys were done.
Yep.
They weren't running after the ball anymore. They were out of ideas. They were not hustling, and you could tell like they didn't have that whole fighting mentality.
Would you say it was individuals not hustling, or was it a collective team not hustling?
I want to say it almost felt like a collective team. Like everybody just ran out of ideas. I think the only guy that was probably out there trying to do something.
Wait, ran out of ideas is different though. I mean, ran out of ideas means like you're all out of answers.
Well, they ran out of ideas.
Out of heart. It sounds like
they ran out of heart. You could probably say they ran out of ideas. Then they ran out of heart. Because you can actually still have heart and run out of ideas, but still keep going.
Yeah.
But they ran out of everything, and it's this was one of those games that would have gave a lot of people hope. I'm gonna tell you a story. My brother was watching the game. My brother's not a big Fire fan. He's gone to a couple of games. He's always giving me crap about it, but he actually started watching the game, and he texted me last night. Oh, by the way, it looks like the Fire are making a comeback after Shaqiri scored a second penalty.
I felt good about it for a minute there. I was like, oh, they got a shot here, and then I felt like we quickly got hit back to earth.
So
your brother's watching, and he's enjoying it for a minute.
Yeah, he's enjoying it for a minute, but obviously the Fire couldn't. If the Fire would have tied, I think that would have hooked him up and probably, maybe convince him to go to more games, I guess.
Take a peek at him.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, the Fire did what the Fire do and disappoint. Which also actually got me thinking. There's gonna be a town hall this Saturday at Soldier Field with the president of the club and Heights.
Right. That can't go well. I can't imagine that going well.
Now, my thing is, how well is the front office going to filter out these questions that people are going to be asking? And,
also, how pleasant will fans be?
Exactly. And then it's hard to imagine somebody asking something stupid like, oh, how do you feel about the new grass at Soldier Field? No, we don't care about that. We care, hey,
Bermuda glass.
Yeah. These past 3 years have been a disappointment. Have you thought about resigning?
Scratch that. These past 3 years.
Yeah.
These past.
Have you thought of 4,
7, 10?
Yeah. Well, specifically, this question is for Heights. Like, anybody, the average person, you could, if you fuck up for 3 years at your job, you're probably gonna get fired eventually, soon. You probably won't even make it to year 2.
And to fuck up in a job where they claim there's so much parity. They claim that you're gift wrapped the playoffs one of these seasons. 2 out of 5 seasons, you're gift wrapped the playoffs, and he can't even get gifted.
No, and the thing is that put it like this, Heights is not good for this role. He is not good for this job. He needs to leave. He needs to resign. If Mansueto gives him an extension, then that just shows that Mansueto doesn't give a crap about this club.
Mansueto's clueless. To me, there's nothing more that shows he's clueless than the fact that Georg Heitz is still employed by this club. Georg Heitz should not have been employed by this club at the beginning of this year. He made a promise. He promised Shaqiri, and that's what kept him here. He said, "I can bring you the one guy, Shaqiri. I swear." Yeah. And he did. And this one guy is he's got a lot of assists in MLS, and he's got a lot of penalty goals Most of his goals are penalty kicks, but
pretty much.
But his assists are fantastic. What he brings on the assists side is amazing. But is he bringing enough as your highest paid player in MLS and the highest for a team that is lacking? I don't know. It's lacking that deadliness that Shaqiri's not providing. He gives the assist. Where's the deadly striker? Is that Duran? Maybe next year.
Maybe next year, but I'm not sold on Duran just yet because he's half the time he's on the floor.
What is with that? Doesn't that seem to be like a thing?
Like half the time he's on the floor, and then a quarter of the time he's complaining to a ref, and maybe a quarter of that time he actually might be doing something. But I wouldn't if we're relying on Duran to be like this explosive striker, then we're in trouble because, we're not going to get anywhere. He spends a lot of time on the floor. I mean, I get other teams are, pushing him around and whatnot. But if that's the case, you might have to take a look at a guy like Jordan. He got pushed around his first playoff series. And then that offseason, he started getting some muscles to fight back. And that's something that Duran might need to do. He might need to get more of that upper strength up and going. So maybe he
definitely does. But of course we know he's 18 years old. He's still a kid. Maybe that is why he needs just a little more time and a little more Wheaties, maybe a little more American cheeseburgers and pizza and all that good stuff, and get on some sort of nutritional diet, get the protein up, get all that good stuff up, get in the gym, and get more looking like Lukaku than Michael Jackson.
There you go.
I mean, like he looks like he's got the moves to dance like Michael. But we need you need to pot goals like Lukaku.
Yep. We need him to like outmuscle defenders to get passed by them.
Mm-hmm. And he is silky smooth though. He's fast. He's got a nimbleness and agility to him. And you don't want him to lose that, but also
you don't want him to lose that, but you look at a guy like Messi. Messi's like what, 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", I don't know. He gets pushed around, but he gets right back up.
But he's a little brick. He's like trying to push down a little brick, and like he's got so much. He's got that what is it? The low center of gravity with his hips. He's so hard to knock off, even though because he is smaller. Same thing with like Pavel Bure and some of those smaller hockey players, Theo Fleury types. Patrick Kane.
So it's like. Half the time he's on the floor. We can't really get much out of him. We can't expect a lot from him. He's only 18 years old, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
We do need to bring in another striker because the guy that was supposed to be the next or better than Nikolic isn't doing much. So, I don't know how the Fire are going to get rid of those contracts.
That's the question because think about this, DPG. They already got $1 million. Right there already just tied up in Prishabilko. Another $500,000 with Duran. And then how much more can they spend on a striker when they have a dead mill sitting right there because of Prishabilko's contract?
Yeah, and then like you think about that. I mean, what is the only thing I can imagine is either A, they sell him, quote unquote sell him to Lugano, and get rid of it like that. In fact, you probably could do that for a couple of players. Or B, I mean, I guess you could look for. I don't think any team will want him, but you could look for a trade. Or C, maybe do negotiate a contract termination. Say, hey, you know what? Didn't work out. Here's a lump sum of money, and good luck on your next endeavor.
I really see that as kind of like the only way the Fire can get out of this.
Yeah, because other than that, I'm not expecting Prishabilko to magically just start scoring 20 goals next season.
Right.
I mean, I don't see that happening. He's living up to his namesake, which I think his nickname is the friendly striker. He is living up to it. So, I don't know what to tell you. You look at guys like Victor Brazzera and some of the guys from Fire too, and you can't just throw them you can't throw them in the wolf pit just right away. Those guys are going to take a couple of years to kind of develop.
Unless they are a Brian Gutierrez.
Unless they're a Brian Gutierrez.
Who did get time last game, and maybe will be getting more time as the season goes on. I wonder if we're going to see less Hyro. Did he get out there?
He was hurt. He was out.
Jesus. Okay, of course he's hurt. And so maybe next season will be a better season for Hyro, and that's what we're going to have to hope for. I don't have that hope for Gaston Jimenez. I don't have for Federico Bernardo. I do like for Shaqiri. I don't know what to do.
Next season is going to be the true test. Because this season, his mind is set on that World Cup team.
There's nothing outside of it. The Fire don't exist. The Fire are his. They're his. What is it? What would you call us? His gym.
Yeah, pretty much. He probably just said, "Oh, I'm going to work out with these guys for a few seasons." And
where's gym membership for till the World Cup?
And the thing about it is that what kind of Shaqiri are we going to get back after the World Cup? I mean, are we going to get a guy that's now going to devote his full time to the Fire
and wants to win an MLS Cup?
Wants to win an MLS Cup?
Wants to make one last push for his career? Is that who we're going to get? Or are we going to get the guy who's ready to go back to Europe?
Yeah.
And halfway through the season forces it, or forces it before he even gets back after the World Cup. Maybe never comes back to Chicago post-World Cup. That's going to be a good bet.
Yeah, or maybe will we get a guy that is going to play really good for one game, probably get hurt, Shaqiri style, and basically collect a check and not see him play for a couple of months.
DPG, what worries me is the guy that I saw on the field a couple days ago. He looks like he wants to be in MLS less than Inter Miami's Gonzalo Higuain.
Yeah.
Gonzalo Higuain looks like he's going to last longer in MLS than Shaqiri.
Yeah.
At this moment.
And that's that's sad considering Shaqiri's only like 31 or 32 and Gonzalo.
And we're speaking out of turn here, but that is kind of how it looks like it's going to be. And we would not be surprised. He forced his way out of his previous club to get to the Fire. Only 11 games in.
Yep.
So it's not unprecedented.
Yeah. So, at this point, I don't know what to expect to Shaqiri. That means we have 3 failed DPs.
Well, the other question is, DPG, do we want Shaqiri back do we want Shaqiri back? Like, I think yes. I think he's good enough DP. He's better than Gaston. He's better than Hyro. But also, is he kind of like Bastian Schweinsteiger, where it's just like too little too late, and you could have used that money to get a Cucho Hernandez, an actual difference maker from MLS to a champion, instead of just like an appealing what do you call that weight, paperweight, an appealing paperweight, which I think that's what Shaqiri is. I think that's what Schweinsteiger was, an appealing paperweight versus a real championship winning soccer player in Cucho Hernandez.
Well, I mean, we always needed a difference maker. We keep signing DPs thinking that they are different makers,
right?
And they're not. We pretty much crapped the bed with re-signing Gaston Jimenez for another year or two, whatever the contract stipulation is.
Totally.
As a DP, we should have done a better due diligence scouting a guy like Jairo Torres.
Do you think that was desperation? Do you think that was a desperation move? Like, he fits the bill. He's going to be he's a young Mexican and we could get him in the door.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think, oh, look, that guy, he's part of a championship team. Let's get him. Let's throw money at Atlas and let's get him. But do they bother checking up? Like, hey, can we get a guy to scout him a couple of games? Can we get a medical report?
Can this guy hang with the physicality of MLS?
Exactly.
Does he have an intact hip muscle?
Yeah, exactly. Like stuff like that. Stuff that any other team will do, probably. And then, of course, we have Shabilko, which I guess nobody bothered to look at his stats.
They didn't scout Shabilko.
They didn't. They just, I mean,
they took a look at him on FIFA 21 and they're like, oh, tall.
He's tall. Look, he's calling us because he wants to get traded over here.
Oh, Polish community.
Yeah. Look, and I get it. I get it. You know,
I get it.
You know, I get it. The Fire trying to connect with the community. They're trying to bring people that, connect with the community. And I get that, but there are better players for that. You know, there are other talent from places that maybe they're not common in Chicago that might be different makers. You know,
Frankowski was a better bet than Shabilko.
Yeah. It's
seems obvious now in hindsight, but
and then at the end of the day, you have to take a look at the guy responsible for signing all the people, and that's George Heights or Gerg Heights, whatever he likes to call himself.
Yes.
You have to take a look at that guy, and let's go back to the town hall.
A close look at his signings. You gotta look at, and not just a close look at his signings, but the sum of all his signings, the sum results of his signings. What are they?
Yeah, the Fire have literally burned through piles of cash signing people that haven't done much.
It's actively injured the image of the Chicago Fire in MLS in Chicago by maintaining Georg Heiss, because less people want to go out and see this particular club than would want to go see a successful club, which we do not have.
You don't. And the thing is like other clubs, other fan bases make fun of us because we're throwing money at these guys that don't do anything.
And the Cubs are a miserable fan base to begin with. They got the one championship and that's all they got. At least they got that, but like they don't have they've had a lot of losing in between all that, and there's still something there that makes fans go, oh yeah, we want to go check this out. Oh, I'll listen to this podcast. Oh, I'll listen to it on sports radio.
Yep.
Where is that for soccer and Chicago Fire?
And the thing about it is that you look around the league, a lot of the teams in the league that are successful, they have adapted, they have evolved. It's like we're still stuck we're barely maybe getting over the hump for MLS 2.0 when the rest of the leagues like at MLS 4.0.
TPG, they tweeted out a picture the other day of a metric of like the metrics of sports popularity in per state basis, kind of, and like they showed Illinois, and soccer was like second or third, baseball was near last, hockey was near last, and I'm like, I don't believe it, because it's all reflected in the sports networks, the sports radio and sports TV. What do they talk about? They talk about the Bears, then what did they talk about next after the Bears?
The Cubs,
then the White Sox, because Cubs get more clicks than the White Sox, even though the White Sox have more success recent term and long term than the Cubs.
Oh, that's because the Sox are on the south side, and if you know better, you don't go on the south side.
Well, the going to the stadium there is a little bit. It's sometimes more difficult in a way. Where Wrigley is just so much more accessible. There's more vibrant life going around. Like it's just like you can feel like, oh, I'll go to Wrigley and I might walk around, even though.
Let's be honest. The north side of Chicago looks much nicer than the south side of Chicago.
It does. Oh, that also has something to do with it.
It's a big part of it.
More appealing product. It's more appealing. It's more attractive. It's more desirable to be around, and these people think like, oh, if we put a fancy bow on it and we make it smell nice, that'll be enough. No.
Who does that sound like to you?
Nelson Rodriguez. Who does that sound like to you?
That sounds to me like the Fire. Oh, let's just sign this guy and then people will come. Doesn't work that way. If you're thinking about the people, the fanboys for Liverpool showing up because they want Shaqiri's autograph, you might get those guys coming in maybe once, and that's it. After that, they're not going to come back.
No, they'll see Shaqiri play, and they'll be like, oh, he's fat and slow, and I wish that was Gareth Bale who could run around people still.
Yeah, and then at that point, it's like, okay, well, did that, and this team kind of sucks. I'm not coming back anymore.
So once again, I've highlighted the problem, DPG, and to me, it comes down to the simple term spectacle. spectacle. Michael Jordan was spectacle. Even the Bulls without Michael Jordan, they figured out spectacle. Because if you've ever been to a Bulls game at post Michael Jordan, I went to one last year, and like, oh my God, the beginning of the game just makes you want to. I was going to get so graphic with what I was just going to say. It makes you want to. Pumped up. It gets you so pumped up. It makes you think like we're going to win we could win everything. Yep. Like, we are the best team in the world. When you hear when you hear the announcement for the Bulls, and we hear the song for the Bulls, the Serious song. Yep, that's the band.
When you see the video, the little intro, you know, a lot of these intros tend to have like flashback from the golden eras of the teams. Mm-hmm. That kind of stuff pumps you up.
It reminds me that we, the Bulls, we are the Yankees of the NBA. We are who everybody wants to be like, because we had Michael Jordan. We had 6. We had something that nobody has ever seen before. Even the people who have Golden State. Like, with Michael Jordan, we had something. We had the most amount of greatness encapsulated over the most longest time. And like, that spoiled us, and it made us the envy of the league, and also made other sports in this town hard to compete with the Bulls. Bulls are right there. I think you said Bulls or Cubs. I actually got to say Bulls are probably number 2. If we think about it, but summer, it's definitely, Cubs over White Sox, and then Blackhawks are in 5th, and then what the Chicago Fire.
I will say this. The White Sox games have a better fan experience. If in terms of going to watch the game. Mm-hmm. A couple of weeks ago, actually back in July, one of my buddies was getting married, and what we did as I guess you could say a bachelor party, we actually rented out a suite at the Cell, whatever
Oh, that sounds fun.
But guaranteed rate fee or whatever they call it now. So our suite was literally facing third base, and we actually had someone come in somebody from the Sox organization come in and tell us, hey, by the way, Tim Anderson tends to throw balls at the suites if you guys cheer hard enough. I took it for like, I was like, yeah, okay, I guess, And then when we saw Tim Anderson throw balls, I guess we're like, okay, let's go cheer. There was 20 of us. We started cheering like girls, and guess what? Tim Anderson threw a ball at us. And we all, we caught it. We all signed it and gave it to our buddy who was getting married.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
But yeah, so in terms of fan experience, I would say if you want to watch a ball game, Guarantee Field is a much better place to watch a ball game than Wrigley. Wrigley, half the time, you're not even watching the game. You're just talking crap, shooting the shit with
I'll say, to me, I've been to more Wrigley Field games than White Sox games, but just by handful, just because my uncle was actually my uncle and my grandpa. My uncle was season ticket holder for the Cubs. My grandpa, season ticket holder for the White Sox. I was at the AJ Barrett Pierzynski punch out game with my best buddy, and sitting behind home plate. I love to tell that story on stream. I tell it a few times every so often. It was the most insane experience. But my point is, the Cubs back in the Sammy Sosa days, there was absolutely nothing like it. There was absolutely nothing like it. And I've been to the United Center with the Bulls. The Bulls United Center was like that. When Wayne Gretzky came to town, it was like that.
And the crazy part about it is that Sammy was hitting home runs, but honestly, in the 90s, the guy that was getting the most hits for the Cubs was Mark Grace.
Oh, I love Mark. That was my favorite Cub.
And you know what's funny is that I actually have it. A couple of years ago, I actually bought his autographed jersey, that already framed and everything from some guy on and it was authenticated too. I actually checked and it was legit.
Sean Dunston, I love Sean Dunston.
But Mike Graves was one of my favorite Cubs players.
Dude, some of those old Cubs teams, those old White Sox teams, Frank Thomas. Jim Tomei when he was here for a year. Oh, what's his face? Manny Ramirez was on the White Sox for a season.
Yep. Ken Griffey was in the White Sox.
I love that the White Sox got Griffey. We got Tomei. You can get those White Sox jerseys. They're real. I love that. I kind of do like that, even though they didn't do anything. But hey, we had them for a moment, which is great.
Speaking of old school jerseys and whatnot, what someone put on Twitter, or I think this on the Fire Discord chat is a throwback baby blue Fire jersey game. Someone actually found a video on YouTube of the Fire wearing that baby blue jersey that's coveted by a lot of Fire fans.
Oh wow, they should do something with that, and they got to do something with the city jersey that I always wear. That they got to listen to the fans. There's something.
The black one.
Yeah, the black and blue sleeve, the black and blue Chicago flag sleeve. They aren't listening. The funny thing about the Red Stars, they don't listen either. They're just damn good at setting new trends and knowing what fucking looks good. If you got to do one of those two things, you either got to have one of those. You please the fans. Like you pick one direction, and the Fire can't pick either, and it's bad.
Like honestly, if the Fire had a team of nobodies that nobody knew about, but somehow they were winning and they were successful, this whole city will be like cramming Soldier Field.
DPG, if they had a cool fucking jersey, they don't have a cool jersey. Like the facts of the matter is, like, they want to claim it's cool. Well, the numbers show it ain't.
It ain't.
You don't want to know what's a cool jersey? The Nigeria jerseys from World Cups past. They're always so cool. But why is that? Why is that? And if Chicago could somehow figure out a way to have a cool jersey that you could say, that's so cool, that alone would build more hype for them. But they just haven't done that yet.
And this is why that Black City jersey is, like, to me, I have it. I hardly wear it because I don't want to ruin it. It's just that just screams Chicago at you. Like, I remember I wore that, and even I had people that don't even follow soccer that told me, "Wow, that's a really nice jersey."
I got an update. I got an updated version for that jersey. Chicago Fire. Please, if you want to reimburse me, just give me a free STH. Give me and DPG free STHs for a season, and we'll greatly appreciate it. That'll maybe even a few seasons or life, just the two of us at least, and then we'll bring more people in as we usually do. But my idea is this: that same black jersey, but the blue Chicago Fire flag, but make it give it a flame motif. So like the Chicago, so it's almost the same. It's all black, and then the jersey sleeve is a blue, but it's like a blue flame. And it's like a blue, but it's also a Chicago flag. It's a Chicago flag with also a blue flame motif. Bam, it'll be so slick. People will want that jersey because guess what? It's Chicago Fire. It'll be like it's there's gonna be something about, like, it's like getting kicked. It doesn't have to be like getting kicked by Miss O'Leary, but there's gonna be something about it that's like, it'd be like, oh wow, I want that.
And I mean, I'm not a big fan of having graphics on a jersey, like, having. Like,
I don't know if you need graphics, right? It just needs the flag, which the flag pic was already on there, but kind of make it flamey, like kind of blue fiery-ish. If you catch my idea, like somehow.
I mean, it cracks me up because I always said, like, man, if the Fire will one day win 3 more MLS Cups and we had 4 stars over the badge, we could literally just paint 2 baby blue stripes on it and make the Chicago flag with those 4 stars if we ever win.
They got to win more championships.
Yeah. And to do that, we need a new GM because obviously Heights is not doing the job.
Mm-hmm.
He's the captain of the Titanic right now. He's literally sinking the hell out of this ship. The ship was already sunk, actually. Now everybody's on life rafts. His decisions. It's unfortunate, but he's making decisions that, like, he's like, he thinks he's trying to batten the hatches, but we won't. This ship's unsinkable, but no, we're sinking, and actually, no, that's a shark eating your first mate, and actually, no, we're going under. It's over, and also we can't catch up. We're so far below everybody else. They're all living. They're out of the ocean. They're moving past sharks. They're onto mainland trade now. Yeah, like, I want people to ask these hard questions on Saturday. I don't want to give them the BS. Oh, what do you think of the new grass at Soldier Field, or some BS about the stadium? I want you to ask the guy, hey, do you think he deserves to stay in the Fire for another season?
They asked him that before. You know what? We got to give props to the Fire media. They're not afraid to take shots. They have been all season, but like, it's different when 60 people, 600 people are clicking it versus 6,000 people, 10,000. It's just like they aren't generating the interest yet, and I don't know how to facilitate that.
It's like these are the questions you gotta ask. Like, hey, in an ethical point of view, you've been doing a horrible job for the past 3 seasons. Do you really think you're doing a good job? You know,
if they had Gareth Bale here, wouldn't they have to write about Gareth Bale? Like, they don't have a guy like that you have to write about. Like, if they had Chicharito here, these guys would have to write about Chicharito because people would be clicking it. Like, there'd be clicks outside of Chicago in addition to Chicago, and it'd be worth their while. That's the fact of the matter that, once again, Shaqiri is not the right signing. And
there's literally
Heights failure because he's not getting people to click in Chicago or be interested in that, like in a Bale type of way. When they got Bale, everybody's like, oh, I've been watching way more LAFC games than Chicago Fire games lately.
There's literally puff pieces of let's a day in Chicharito's life, where they follow him around for a day.
And that's Chicharito, right? And they do it for Bale too. These guys are icons.
They do stuff like that. Like, you won't see that with the Fire. I mean, we have the 3rd largest market in the country, but yet we're treated like we're some small town, club team that's barely getting by. And that's kind of been the mentality we had for the past 10 years. And and I get it. A lot of it probably had to do with the old ownership, mismanagement. But now that we have an owner that wants to spend money, we need the right guy to fix all this. We need a guy like Lagerwey to come in and just say, hey, we're getting screw this. We're starting over again, or we're doing this. If Lagerwey came in tomorrow and said, hey, I'm going to get rid of everybody and start from scratch, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, because maybe that's what we need. Maybe that's what we've been needing for this whole entire time. We need a guy that's going to go into the Fire and just literally clean house and fix things. Not just buy people just to buy them and think that they're going to somehow win us a cup. Because that hasn't happened and that hasn't worked. And we really got to quit buying people that are in these obscure leagues around the world. Like, that's not working too. Yeah, like that's not working for us. It's never gonna work for us. Maybe, that's like one of those things where that's like a scratch off. Maybe you might get something, 1 out of X, but if you want to really hit it big, it's gonna be 1 out of a million or whatever it is. It's not gonna happen. There's 2 ways to take a look at this. You could either we could go the Dallas way, which is just basically revamping the youth academies and bringing in young talent to develop and
it's not just about getting lucky. It's about developing the talent. A lot of these clubs have figured out something.
And all props to Brian Gutierrez, all props to Gaga, Reynolds and all those guys. Those guys, that's I guess you could say that's a step in the right direction, but we need to probably increase that to at least 2 or 3 times the pace we're going. How is it that Dallas is pumping out talent all the time?
Right.
And that's not saying
it doesn't have to be great talent. Like, they all don't have to be Gaga Sloninas.
No. It's like the same thing with LA. I mean, LA is a big city, but they figured it out. New York figured it out, but Chicago's struggling. Like, Gaga's probably like the biggest, youth player developed like in the past. Crap,
Well, we got Georgie. We did, Georgie, and they've had some success lately.
Georgie and Gaga were probably like the only 2 that I can think of right now that the Fire have developed as a homegrown player
that truly are recognized around the league. We're not talking about like Steven Cleveland and over in who's the backup for Seattle, or the other guy who went to Seattle from what's his face?
Harry Shipp.
Harry Shipp. Yeah, that's it. Those are kind of like the 4 names.
But it's like you look throughout Fire history, you try to think about a time when we actually developed a player, and like that will meet up to the standards of Gaga or Jordy, and you can't really think of any.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the guys we got from draft picks that we actually lucked out on. We lucked out on Sean Johnson. Who would have thought that he would have developed into the goalkeeper he is now?
He's getting almost. He got a call up. Might be even going to the World Cup.
He's probably going to go to the World Cup.
Which I'm not sure that's the right call. I would rather bring like your young guy who's going to be starting there in the future there as your third guy. But if you need somebody to start and you actually think he might be starting over Zach Steffen, that changes things.
Think about this. In 4 years, Gaga's going to be 22. Think about that. 22. So in 2026, we're going to have a 22-year-old goalkeeper starting. Maybe. I don't even know. That might be too young to put that kind of pressure on a goalkeeper. But if he's that good,
national team.
Yeah. Maybe he becomes this really good goalkeeper at Chelsea and he's a regular starter for them, and then maybe he's good enough to start in the national team. That's fine. But Sean Johnson, through everything he's dealt with, through the bad Fire teams he's dealt with, I am happy for the man that he won an MLS Cup. I'm really happy for him. And I'm also happy that he might actually be able to see the World Cup. I personally feel that the Fire did him a disservice the way they treated him, in his last season. Pretty much kind of left him out to dry. Which was, we put a guy like Matt Lampson as a goalkeeper. When we had someone that was already.
Yeah.
So you look at stuff like that, and it's like this team has mismanaged itself to death. Like at this point, you kind of just want somebody to come in and just clean house again, because it's like it's almost every year. It's always a rebuilding year for the Fire.
Always seems like that way.
And like
the coach is never working with the GM, and
and the thing about it is that if it's not a rebuild year, then it's gonna be a year that we're just gonna literally sit at the bottom of the conference, where it's like, okay, we're not bringing anybody. We're gonna keep the same team from last year. Oh, great, we're gonna be in last place again.
I didn't expect us to be in last place, but when I do the math, why aren't we? We don't invest in the places where you need to invest. We are always in short-term solving solutions. There's just so much about the way that the Fire is run that is flawed from an MLS success perspective that they aren't getting right with, and they aren't going to get out of Garrick Heights anytime soon.
Yeah, and it's like, this is why you need a GM that's been part of a successful team that knows how to build successful teams.
Correct.
And we're not getting that with Heights. We're not getting that with the Sebastian Peltzer guy. We're definitely not getting that from the scouting department.
No. And they're paying more money to the scouting department, supposedly.
And sometimes, and as we've been seeing this past 3 years, throwing money at the problems might not solve the issue. Especially if you're throwing money at the wrong guy. And we've been giving, Joe Mansoura's been throwing boatload of money to Heights to bring players in, and those players have not been successful. And at that point, you have to look at the guy that's making those moves. You have to look at Heights. You have to say, you know what, this guy is not right for this role. We need to get him out of here. If you want to send him back to Europe, then fine. Boom. Send him out to FC Lugano, let him be the GM over there or whatever, or fire him. Maybe Lugano is better off without him. But you need a guy that knows what they're doing in this league.
That's the bottom line, and he still hasn't gotten it.
And I mean, how do you feel about the president of the Fire?
I don't feel good about her. I feel she's very token.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe where it's like, it's just, I think she's probably, she's probably more excited that she's a president of a club than just she is running it.
Well, she doesn't care at soccer. It can care. She. I don't know. She is not in it for the Fire. She's not one of those. I don't know what she is. It looked good. It looked good at the time. It just seems like one of those hires that's like, oh, this is going to be great on paper. We'll be able to sell this to some of our fans who like this type of thing.
Yeah, it's like, that's exactly the point. It's like when you're putting
Am I being too negative about it? But like that's kind of my read. Like she's a token hire. It feels like.
And the thing is, like, when you're putting stuff on LinkedIn, because by the way, guys, she does have a LinkedIn profile. When you're putting stuff on LinkedIn and you're saying, "Oh, I'm getting paid to watch sports," and going to watch Serena Williams play versus being at the stadium watching the Fire play, that just shows that
rubbed me the wrong way. That rubbed me the wrong way because she's a Chicago Fire president. It was during a game, and I understand she could have timed the tweet so it came out later. But she had to let it be known she was at this game. But also maybe it was her time off. But still, like, if you're the president, like, I'm not the president. I don't have to be at every fucking game.
That's a bad sign. If you're the president of a club and you're saying I'm not gonna be at every game.
What does that say to Shaqiri?
Yeah. But what does it say to the rest of the staff? Oh, by the way, I'm just gonna not watch you guys play, even though this is my job, but I'm gonna go do something else. It's like it's a bad look. I mean, you look around the world, you think the president of Real Madrid or Barcelona is not sitting at every home game?
Pouring through Soccernomics. Yeah, like,
exactly.
like we don't. Angus mentioning that he received the mail today. 2018 World Cup version of Soccernomics, a very interesting book which covers different nations' GDP and correlates them with the powerhouses that they are, along with soccer as if money is if soccer is a money loser for that country or not. I wonder about like Brazil. I wonder about England. Like, those guys are powerhouses. Germany. Waiting for the 2022 World Cup version of the book of Soccernomics. So they're going to have, like, an updated report.
Yeah, I mean, that's
interesting to check a look at.
That'd be interesting to take a look at. But
I wonder if it makes me wonder about the Chicago Soccernomics when we see over the last 7 to 8 years that they're routinely top 5 spend in MLS and routinely bottom MLS, bottom top 5 in pay and money spend, but bottom 27, bottom 25 in results.
Yep. And the thing is like, going back to this president hire, I mean, this is I get it. I guess it's a good look for the club, but I mean, sometimes you got to hire the right people.
Right. Is Krista McCreen, what's her face, the right people? I didn't think she. I think she was the right person at the time, but also it was to me, it was screamed very short term. Like, it didn't seem like a very long term hire. She didn't have experience in this thing, and she didn't really even seem to want to get experience. Like, you read her tweets, you read her things, like, soccer is like her last priority of all sports. She's into baseball, she's into hockey. She's into tennis. She's into anything but soccer. She's just like I'll put my application in to Chicago, and they are a professional club. It's something that I'll be able to flip on to the next thing. This is her stepping stone.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's 2-3 years from now. Don't be surprised if.
Which is fine.
Which is fine, but at the time when this club is going through struggling in the league, you don't need a person like that. You need someone that's actually gonna take charge and be like the face of the club, be the figurehead of this club.
And DPG, and here we are saying it's fine, but because we're like a beat wife at this point. We're like, yeah, she could treat this club like a stepping stone because everybody else does. Yeah, she could shit on this club and move on to the next thing, just put it on her resume and never look back in the rear view mirror like everybody else has. That makes sense to us. That makes sense to us as fans because that's what they're treating this club like, and they need to change the way the club's treated by the players, by the executives, and they still have not changed that because of what they've brought in. You reap what you sow, Joe Mansueto.
Yep. And the thing about it is that you look back throughout the years, all the Fire presidents that we've had. We had Nelson Rodriguez. You know, we had the SFO AK, which was the Atul Koshla, which, by the way, you know, I know AK used to get a lot of crap back in the day, you know, from Fire fans, but that, let's be honest here, that man stood alone in a town hall, at a Chicago bar, the Atlantic, taking crap for every Fire fans of why this team wasn't successful. The same argument we're having today.
Yeah, but it's one thing to be able to take crap. It's another thing to be able to take crap and then be able to go and become a winner, to foment a winner and get everybody else on the winning page. And if everybody else is a loser, it's hard to become a winner.
Yeah. So
Fire keep hiring losers. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So please, club president, try to care a little bit about the Fire, please, for the sake of the Fire fan base. Yes, your hiring looks good on paper, but we need results.
We need something more than on paper. We need the right guy. We need just like, oh, like this sounds like the right thing. We don't need sounds like. We need this is the right guy. And there's clear answers to that. There's clear guys out there that are that. And the Fire just have been unwilling, for whatever reason, to go back and go get their own fucking guys.
Yes. So, Joe Mansueto, you need to fire Heights already, all right? Stop beating a dead horse. He's not going to get you a championship. He's just going to take your money and burn it right in front of you. And you're going to let him until you fire him. Because we're not going anywhere with him. We're not. We're like literally
going down. Like this, it's just a. I don't see this club going anywhere with Garrett Kreiss except worse, because that's what's happening. It's cratering even deeper after Nelson Rodriguez. When we thought we had somebody, we thought we might have had somebody, an owner, at least with the idea, the guidance, the right choices to be able to get us out of this rut. No, his choices have actually made the hole deeper.
Like,
yeah, he's got money
like
to buy a nice ladder out, but he still hasn't figured out a way to get that ladder here.
And the thing about it is that Heights makes Nelson Rodriguez look like freaking, you know,
a
Jeff
genius.
A genius, yeah.
Truly, he does. He makes, because Nelson at least knew the rules, knew the way. Was able to resign veterans. Was able to give you a complete team that didn't work altogether, but a complete team.
And the only downfall for Nelson was that he was an asshole.
Yes.
To the fan base.
Super asshole. Don't want him here. Don't need him back.
You know, that was the problem with him. But the fact is that he made moves. The team actually got into playoffs. You know, we were actually competitive for one season. You couldn't even do it in 3.
And even though he's the guy behind the failure of Chivas Guadalajara. Chivas, is that what they were called? Chivas USA. He was part of that failure, that debacle. He learned something there, as much as you know, as difficult it is to say. He was a smarter GM here as Chicago Fire GM. He wasn't the worst GM in MLS, which Garrett Heights might be.
Yeah. I mean, how many GMs around the league do you know are getting money thrown at them and burning it and buying players that are not successful? GMs like that don't last that long.
Yeah, all Chicago Fire GMs, I guess, are going to be included in this, because it's just miss after miss after miss on most of these DPs. Is Shaqiri the best DP after who? Is Schweinsteiger the crowning achievement for DPs for Nelson? And is Shaqiri the crowning DP of, like, look at these crowning DPs that are not league winners. Once again, these are afterthoughts. These are paperweights. They're heroes of long ago.
They're past their prime.
They're not Cucho Hernandez coming in looking for that next deal to get back to Premier League, or even Joseph Hernandez Joseph Martinez when he first came to the league, when he was hungry.
Oh, he tore it up.
He's not hungry anymore, but
he got hurt. But I mean, you know, he hasn't been the same player ever since he got hurt. But still, the first 2 seasons, every defensive line, every defensive back line in the league was shooting bricks.
They didn't know how to handle them.
Exactly. So you think about that. You think about guys that nobody probably heard of them prior to them getting to the getting to the MLS. And they've done stuff. They actually became game changers. We can't even sign one. But don't worry though. We could develop talent and ship it off somewhere else where they become game changers.
Georgie, maybe it's only 2 instances really. Two big instances. Fabian Herbers though. Let's talk about him for a moment. He's out of town. He's ready to go. He's done with this.
Fabian Herbers went to Philly to get his. He went. I guess he got some surgery done on the groin.
Mm-hmm.
So he's
I can't imagine Philadelphia has better medical facilities or better medicine than Chicago. That's just me. But
maybe he has a doctor,
maybe he's got a doctor out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he played for Philly, so he's probably got a doctor he's comfortable with, and whatever.
And also, everywhere in the world has different medical facilities. Maybe they do have a good specialty. Blah 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 blah. I mean, there's like cancer facilities down in Texas that are spectacular. MD Anderson, and there's also everybody has their own. So who knows?
So he has his reasons why he went to Philly. But besides the point is, I like Fabian Herbers. I think he's a good, utility piece that you have on the bench whenever you need him.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you need to hold a score line.
Absolutely,
he's fine. I don't think he's a game changer, but he plays with heart.
If you had him and CJ Sapong here over the season, that would have helped. Just so that a guy like that Ezra could pivot to instead of John Duran when Pershabilko was failing.
Exactly.
That guy, he made me think of the rest of those guys. It's just
I think that's
other guys that maybe they should have kept that would have maybe helped this team a little bit more.
You know what? Besides Sean Johnson, besides Dax McCarthy.
No, I'm talking Garrick Heights from the that he let go.
Oh,
Georgie Mihailovic.
Georgie Mihailovic is one.
Easy.
CJ might be another.
Yeah, CJ would be another. If you didn't let go of CJ, if you didn't let go of Georgie, this team would literally be much more well put together with those 2 players alone. Veterans.
Yeah. I think from our part, we, maybe, a lot. I think about the Georgie move, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, even though Georgie was a little inconsistent, he did have some moments, and I think a lot of times is like I think the technical staff just didn't see it that way. I mean, they probably ran out of
They didn't know where to fit him. They didn't know where to play him. They're like, we need a 10. They got Marty always railing like, we need a 10. And so like, this guy's not a 10.
Why do we need Georgie when we have Madron?
Right?
Something.
That is what they thought.
Yeah. Why do we need? Yeah, exactly. It's just stupid, And look at him now. Georgie's making moves. He's going to Europe. Montreal's getting $6 million. We're getting 600,000. That's it. We should have been the ones getting the $6 million.
Should have been making over 20 million from Gagosunian and Georgie.
Yeah, literally, Mansueto probably would have got his money back. But, hey, this is the Fire. We have dumb management that makes dumb moves. So that's what you have to go through. Now, unless Joe Mansueto finally decides, hey, we got to pull the plug on this guy, then fine, fire his ass. But, until then, we have to suffer.
That's the thing. We got to... Well, how much longer does Joe Mansueto really expect us to suffer? I mean, I understand he's new at this. I understand he just started pay attention to the Chicago Fire, even though he's lived in Chicago all his life and he's a new Chicago Fire fan. But we've been here since 1997, and we really haven't had a lot of fun since 2001. We've had moments, but we have not had a lot of consistent fun since 2001, 1997-ish.
And it depends who you ask. Some fans will say, hey, when we won the U.S. Open Cup was probably the last time we had fun.
Yeah, we had fun then. Yeah, there's moments of fun. Yeah, Blanco was fun for a moment.
you know, maybe the Eastern Conference Finals. People will say, "Wow, that was like the best time ever," you know. But
winning championships is the best time ever for me.
I honestly, I can't think of like any. If you were to ask me what was your favorite championship season for the Fire, I can't think of any.
Besides the original.
Besides the original, it's like, you know, I literally have to like say, oh, you know, my favorite game was, you know, against Seattle, you know, back in 2017 when we beat them 4-1. That's my favorite game of all time. I have to literally go to individual games.
Favorite season in the last 10 years, I would say for me, is probably the Nikolic Golden Boot season.
2017. That's the same here. And by the way, Joe, if you're wondering about attendance that year, we literally sold out a couple of times that year. I literally remember getting messages on my phone saying, "Oh, by the way, the game sold out today, only standing room only."
We were season ticket holders that year, and it was a fun year to be a season ticket holder.
Yeah. So, if you want to wow us again, Joe, you know what to do.
I don't think he does, though. That's the thing, Joe. If you don't know what to do, so let me tell you what to do. You don't sign aging stars. It's MLS 3.0, and how about this? Lead the charge into MLS 4.0. New, different. Don't be. Chicago Fire are stuck in MLS 0.5. Like, we haven't even moved to David Beckham years, like to MLS 1.0. Like, get past that. We don't need David Beckham to come in. We don't need David Beckham's jockstrap to come in. We need a player who is not past it, who's physically capable of dominating in MLS and therefore also being a spectacle in MLS, therefore drawing and earning my dollars, my hard-earned pay, and my time so that I want to go watch this guy try and score goals against MLS and support my Chicago soccer team.
Exactly. You know, and another thing you need to do is fire your GM. Yep. Get a guy that knows how to win. Get a guy that's been on championship teams. Get a guy that knows what he's doing with your money. Don't get a guy that's just telling you nice stuff that he's going to make things happen with your money. All right? Don't buy the snake oil. Just get a guy that knows what the hell he's doing and doesn't need an assistant to tell him how to do his job.
And speaking of snake oil, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but Garrick Heights is a snake oil salesman. That's what he is. So it's time to move on. Thank him for his service from the Chicago Fire. I don't even think that means moving him to the other club. I don't know why you would keep this guy in your family unless he's got pictures of you doing something bad. You get rid of him, guy, and say, thank you for your services. I gave you a lot of good time and a lot of good money, and I didn't like the results of it, and so I'm going to go another direction.
Oh, look at it this way, Joe. Look at it as a guy working for Morningstar and just losing your money.
And yeah, just throwing it away. But here's the thing, did he? Because he still got money from... The problem is he got lucky with Gago Slonina. That's not his... But he should not get any credit for Gago Slonina whatsoever.
The thing about it is that you look at that deal. Great, he's getting 10 million guaranteed, 15 after performance, but that still won't cover the amount of money we spent on every other player. Right. Shaqiri alone was like 7.5 million. You know, Jairo Torres was like what, 5-6 million alone. Federico Navarro was another 3-4 million. Gaston Jimenez was another 2-3 million. Like it goes on and on. You know, not to mention the TAM and GAM.
Elsewhere, just look at everybody he has spent money on, and ask the question: well, was that money well spent?
Exactly.
Was Gaston Jimenez money well spent? Was Shaqiri money well spent? Was Jairo Torres money well spent? Were these DPs money well spent?
Exactly.
In a league where they have to be. In a league where they have to be. Because, like, those are your only top 3 guys you're allowed per the salary cap.
Yeah.
You're superstars.
And also, Joel, don't hire anybody don't go through a hiring agency to bring a GM. Ask around the league. You might find, you'll be surprised if you get it.
Ask around the league. Talk to People who want the Fire to have success. Talk to Eric Winalda. Talk to Piotr Nowak. Talk to former Chicago Fire people who want the success for Chicago Fire. Talk to those people. They're connected. They got their ear to the grindstone. They're able to tell you what's what. And the other thing is, I know you have asked them. I know you have talked to those guys, and you couldn't handle the truth. You couldn't handle what that was told to you. And that is a you problem. And you made that you problem an all of us problem.
Exactly. All right. So if you want to bring more butts to the seats, you got to change things around.
And just it's not just like switch things around for the better. It's you got to make strong choices. You can't just bring in a token president. You got to bring in a president who's going to be able to take command, who knows Chicago. Are you kidding me? Like someone who like understands the Chicago market, not just someone who's from the big city and checks and is a check. It fits a check mark.
Exactly. You need a guy. You need someone. I don't care if it's a woman or a man. You need someone that's gonna like literally almost be a fan sometimes during game days. Like someone that's excited to be there.
Somebody who's gonna bring success.
Someone that knows what they're doing, that wants success, that knows that could somehow connect with the fans. Because up to this point, I haven't seen this president try to connect with the fans.
Well, maybe we should start asking her about tennis. How she feels about Rafa Nadal.
Exactly. Let's ask her about a different sport, because obviously soccer's the last thing on her mind.
Or the team.
But don't worry. She's happy to get paid watching sports, though. You know, according to her LinkedIn post. So, yeah. And on that note, I think I'm gonna call it a night.
All right, DPG, it's fun spitting fire with you, brother.
Always, man, always. We'll see how it goes out the next couple of games. Of course, if you guys haven't noticed, the Fire eliminated. At this point, it's just worth watching to see who else's dreams we shatter besides our own.
Right.
So, yeah. I guess at this point, you can start looking forward to the off season. Maybe we might just get what we asked for.
But here's the problem, DPG. What if they bring back Georg Heitz?
Oh my! Then it's gonna be the same crap over and over again.
I'm not so disheartened by. Are you disheartened by the idea of bringing back Ezra? If Georg Heitz stays, I'm not disheartened by the idea of Ezra being brought back. I'm disheartened by the fact that Georg Heitz is still here.
Exactly. Like if you get a new GM and he keeps Ezra, that's fine. But if you keep Heights, it's like, oh crap, a fourth year of this?
It's more than a fourth year. It's a fourth year and more, because it's not just this season. It's not going to be just next season that his tendrils will be felt long after. His greasy, grubby fingers. We're going to see the stains of Georg Heitz on this team for years to come. And the sooner you remove those grubby paws from the garden and get a better gardener in there, the faster you're going to get some prettier flowers, a better garden, something that's more attractive, something that people want to come out and smell and walk around and be around and enjoy.
Exactly.
And it doesn't even have to be the prettiest or the greatest. It's got to be something worthwhile to visit.
And all I'm going to say is this. If you guys are going to a town hall meeting, ask the hard questions. Don't ask about the grass. Don't ask about the concession stands. Don't ask about the parking. You ask the hard questions. Does Georg Heitz deserve to be here again after 3 years of failure?
And does Joe Mansueto truly care about soccer? The billionaire is the owner of FC Lugano, who's got 3 wins, no draws, and 5 losses. I mean, is he truly an ambitious soccer owner, or is this just another plaything of a billionaire?
Exactly. He's just trying to flip us.
Roman Abramovich, for as bad as you could speak about him, he's a Russian gangster, blah blah blah. Dude wanted Chelsea to be the best,
and he got it, and he made it happen.
I don't know about Joe Mansueto. Because the proof's in the pudding, and he wants Georg Heitz to be this general manager. He wants him to keep him here in the circle of suck. and
kind of makes Kind of makes you wonder if Joe Mansueter just bought the Fire so he could talk to his friends at the country club, saying, "Oh yeah, I own a sports team, by the way."
It's his fantasy.
You might have heard.
Yeah, it's his fantasy sports team.
It's like you might have heard of them. They're called the Chicago Fire, and they're probably gonna be like, "What? The TV show?" No, the soccer club. You know.
We
So you
play at
think
Soldier
about
Field,
that.
same place as the Bears used to.
Oh, you guys do? Is that some sort of amateur team? You know,
No, we're
stuff like
professional.
that.
We're in the biggest league in North America. It's in soccer.
Exactly.
Wait, you mean Liga Max? No, MLS. I guess not North America, United States.
Exactly. So that's the issue. So again, ask the hard questions at the town hall.
Ask the questions of Joe Mansueto. Does he want to treat Chicago Fire like Roman Abramovich treats Chelsea, or does he want to treat Chicago Fire like the Glazers treat Manchester United?
Exactly. Well put right there.
Bam. Somebody asked that question.
But yeah, on that note, I'm calling it a night. Let's see how it goes on Saturday.
DPG, always appreciate you swinging by.
Have a good night, guys.
Later, DPG. Have a great one. That's DPG, 10-year plus season ticket holder for Chicago Fire. Spitting some fire. Thanks for joining us. Here, guys, everybody kick that like button. What a conversation. You guys have your 2 cents to add in. Toss it on the fire. Let's go. We got to toss another log on the fire. Drop it in the comments below. We'd love to read your guys' comments. Let us know how you guys feel. All right, guys, I think we're getting close to shut it down. We're going to do a quick little recap about fantasy football and who I think is